Welcome to Green TV, the show dedicated to positive Green New Deal solutions and the independent and Green Party candidates who advocate for them. I'm your host for today, Gail Parker. Green TV is about Green New Deal eco-jobs for the economy, positive solutions, eco-capitalism, prices must tell the environmental truth, the green industrial revolution, solar jobs, wind jobs, geothermal jobs, rail jobs, weatherization jobs, conservation jobs, efficiency jobs, lots of jobs, building green neighborhoods, walkable, bikeable, pedestrian and rail-friendly communities. Cutting taxpayer subsidies to zero for fossil fuel, big oil, big auto. Rail built anywhere in America benefits all of America. Ever wonder how to make energy from the sun? Or which is better, sun energy or wind energy? Perhaps these two videos will help you decide.
On the other side of this roof, the energy of the largest thermonuclear reactor in the solar system is beating down. But we can harness that energy. We can harness the power of the sun. We haven't begun to tap the sun's energy. Right now, more solar energy hits the Earth in a day than everyone on Earth could use in 27 years. Currently, we tap barely 1% of the sun's power. If we could take all the energy and all the fossil fuel on and in the Earth today, it wouldn't equal the amount of energy that comes from the sun in just 20 days. Hence, this solar array. In 1954, scientists discovered that silicon, the same material that beach sand is made of, if it has just the right impurities in it, will produce electricity when light hits it. A battery like this makes about 1 watt's worth of electricity. Each of these panels produces about 180 watts. In this system, there are 24 panels, and we get about 4,000 watts under perfect sunlight conditions. That's 4 kilowatts. It's not bad. This meter shows how much power the solar panels are producing. On a bright sunny day like this, look how fast it's going. Most days, this electric meter runs backwards. Here in California, the Department of Water and Power gives you credit or buys back your excess electricity. Now, that's not just a good idea, that's a law, the federal law. This little gizmo does a big job. It converts the direct current, or DC, from the solar panels into alternating current, or AC, which ties into the American electrical grid. And the average American household produces the equivalent of about 10,500 pounds of CO2 every year. So this system, with the solar panels and this inverter, have saved the equivalent of 14,777 pounds of CO2 in the last 15 months. You gotta feel pretty good about that. How much does a system like this cost? Well, anywhere from $10,000 to over $50,000. That sounds like a lot of money, but remember, many states have rebate programs, low-interest loans, and tax incentives. So that brings the cost way down. So next time you're in the attic, think about what you can do on the other side.
Welcome back to Green TV, the show dedicated to positive Green New Deal solutions and the candidates that advocate for them. In the past 10 to 12 years, we have seen strong steps forward for renewable energy and for rail mass transit. David Freeman, a frequent guest on Green TV, advocates for an all-electric America and says we can be 100% renewable within 10 years with the right emphasis. At this time, we believe that it is prudent for average citizens to begin thinking defensively in terms of how to react with the environment that may affect housing, transportation, employment, and investment. For our housing outlook, according to Forbes.com author Tom Anderson, there are basically 3 factors to consider for housing: cost, local housing market, and your lifestyle. Tom Anderson says renting offers flexibility, but it is generally cheaper to own than to rent if you plan to be in the home for 5 years or more. And it is generally accepted that there are 3 things that are important in buying a home: location, location, and location. For our purposes, let's say you plan to buy or keep the home for 10 to 15 years until 2030. The current outlook is a dangerous level of warming by the year 2020 in just 4 years, potentially resulting in rising sea levels, and for the U.S., for reliance on electric automobiles, which will mean shortened commutes based upon the driving radius of affordable vehicles. If you have children or plan to have children, access to education must also be factored into your decision to purchase housing. While transportation is currently institutionalized into elementary and secondary education, access to higher education may well be a function of how close one lives to a university in the future. Hypothetically, then, couples who plan to have a family should potentially look for a home with an elevation of at least 500 feet above sea level, with an electric recharging outlet, and a home within 30 miles of employment and within 30 miles of a university, or within 30 miles of a rail station and public transportation to a university and to employment. Depending on your locality, you will want to insist on safety provisions for weather extremes. For example, if your area is subject to tornadoes, you will also want to insist on a storm shelter or a safe room to be included. In an area subject to hurricanes, mudslides, or wildfires, evacuation will be a consideration. For our transportation outlook, recent studies by Australian researchers recommend switching $500 billion in subsidies for fossil fuels worldwide to renewables as a cost-neutral way to fast-track the energy transition to renewable energy. The average citizen who does not live close to a rail station can then expect to purchase an affordable vehicle with a driving radius of about 30 miles. Commercial air travel, if available at all, will be limited to long distances with shorter routes served by rail mass transit, hopefully. Walking, biking, and other non-conventional methods of transporting people and things can be expected to be seen. For our employment outlook, employers may consider hiring remote or workers from home workers more than the traditional on-site employment. Even the traditional on-site employment will see less turnover from employees who own their own homes or apartments. Australian University of Queensland and Griffith University combined molecular bioscience and finance and economics to produce the first model to include energy use per person Energy use per person has doubled since 1950. The model uses economic and population growth as a way of predicting carbon emissions and corresponding temperature increases. The model suggests that the surge in energy consumption is not being offset by improvements in energy efficiency. Energy per person use is trending to rise six-fold by 2050. Currently, 80% of energy is from fuel and only 20% from electricity. Thus, we would expect employment surges to continue in technology, in renewable energy such as wind, solar, water, and geothermal, and electric production, delivery, and retrofit systems. And lastly, for our outlook, investments. Ralph Fuchs has said prices must tell the environmental truth. Currently in the U.S., prices for fossil fuel does not tell the environmental truth, nor do subsidies in the U.S. We continue to subsidize fossil fuel when we should be moving those funds to renewable energy production. However, I do agree with keeping the price of fossil fuel low. Otherwise, without the emphasis on renewable energy production, greater harm would be done to the planet. A more prudent investment approach to investing would be to research renewables for yourself, to invest in electric production, delivery, and retrofit systems. Also, invest in technology and rail mass transit. You will likely have to do the research yourself since most investors don't concentrate in these areas. Rail built anywhere in America benefits all of America. Grand Central Station, which is the largest station in the world, was built in 1871, and we have a video about Grand Central Station and contrast it with the new high-speed rail station in China.
这2天都检票了，去青岛房里头191的这2天都检票了。靠电梯，注意脚下安全，文明乘坐电梯，谢谢。您好，请装好扶手，不要倚靠电梯，注意脚下安全，文明乘坐电梯，谢谢。您好，请装好扶手，不要倚靠电梯，注意脚下安全。
死了，打了一个砖。
By the year 2030, California's population will increase by 30%, surpassing 50 million. Adapting will require highly efficient, safe and clean transportation alternatives that support our growing economy and protect our landscape and environment. This is California High-Speed Rail.
The governor and the legislature have seen the light on global warming. They've seen the light on energy efficiency. And that high-speed rail, it would be a fundamental part of a package of infrastructure and policies to lessen California's impact on global warming, to lessen our impact on imported oil, and to improve our quality of life.
Over the past 4 decades, high-speed trains have proven to be the safest and most reliable form of transportation in the world, and are ideally suited for the unprecedented needs of California in the 21st century. Employing state-of-the-art technology and moving at sustained speeds up to 220 miles per hour, California High-Speed Rail will extend from Sacramento and the San Francisco Bay Area in the north to San Diego in the south. A trip from downtown San Francisco to downtown San Jose in a half hour. A trip from San Francisco to Fresno in under an hour and 20 minutes. A trip from San Francisco's Transbay Transit Center to Los Angeles' Union Station in just over 2.5 hours, every time, regardless of weather.
We want to succeed and we want to grow our economy. We want to be viable in the future. We're not going to be viable unless we have a world-class transit hub. We want to do the finest intermodal transportation hub west of the Mississippi. We want the Grand Central Station on the west coast, and that's our Transbay Terminal. That, of course, must be anchored by this high-speed rail that connects not only the region to our downtown core, but connects the rest of the state.
High-speed trains are a clean technology. Running on electric power, high-speed trains will help California meet critical air quality and CO2 standards, while also protecting our landscape by using existing right-of-ways and promoting sustainable development.
High-speed rail uses a fraction of the energy of other long-distance transport solutions. Less than 1/3 as much energy as airplanes and less than 1/5 the amount of energy used by people driving these long distances. So high-speed rail is clearly one of the best ways to reduce greenhouse emissions in the state. We understand that a healthy economy and a green economy are one and the same, and high-speed rail is going to be an important part of that in California.
Requiring no operating subsidy, high-speed trains will strengthen California's economy, creating as many as 450,000 new permanent jobs. Benefits will be immediate. Moving safely on improved separated grades, slated for construction over the next decade, California's rail and road network will be vastly improved.
I believe we need to focus on the future. We need to focus on our next generation. What is our planet going to look like? How is our next generation going to get to work? We need to think about the benefits in the long term and not just today.
To secure California's transportation future, the California High-Speed Rail Authority is acting now to preserve right-of-ways and complete engineering and environmental studies critical for building the system.
The options are either expand the highways, expand the runways, and expand the airport gates, all at a cost of over $82 billion. We can build a high-speed train for half that cost.
High-speed transportation is an essential element of ensuring that California is attractive to business people and to investors in businesses and to people who want to work in those businesses.
I think it's going to be essential for our economic future of the Bay Area to have high-speed rail. The convenience is extraordinary. The competitive, again, advantages of being able to have choice as it relates from moving north to south across the state is incredibly important. To focus on our environmental future in a substantive and meaningful way is incredibly important. This is really about the future not only of the San Francisco Bay Area and Southern California, it's the future of the state, this country, in terms of its competitiveness. And this is a vision that we can manifest in our lifetime. Let's just get moving, let's build this high-speed rail.
High-speed trains are a clean, safe, and cost-effective alternative for the transportation needs of the California of the 21st century. It is time once again for California to innovate. It is time once again for California to lead the way. This is high-speed rail.
That's it for today's Green TV. I'm Gail Farrell Parker, your host for today. Please join us again next time for Green TV.